Hi everyone and welcome to Skare. If you're new here, consider subscribing, because on this channel, we explore the darkest, most disturbing real-life horror stories you won't hear anywhere else. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. I'm really glad you're here. We're officially stepping into a brand new year, and I couldn't begin it without thanking you all for the incredible support you've shown this channel. It truly means more than you know. So tonight, turn off the lights, get comfortable, and prepare yourself, because what you're about to hear isn't fiction. This is Skare. I've always been into outdoor adventures. During my second year of college, I thought about starting my own YouTube channels, solo camping vlogs, something new, something different. In October 2024, I planned my first solo camping trip. The location was a remote forest area almost 4 hours away from the city. I packed my gear, tent, sleeping bag, portable charger, and obviously my DSLR camera and phone. I left in the morning and reached the campsite by afternoon. The place was perfect, dense trees, a small stream nearby, and no one around for miles. I set up my tent and positioned the camera. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is my first solo camping trip, and I'm beyond excited. I filmed myself setting up camp, gathering firewood, and making dinner. Everything felt right. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and purple. Around 8 p.m., I decided to film a night segment. I sat by the campfire, camera rolling. So guys, it's getting pretty dark now. The sounds out here are insane crickets, wind through the trees. It's peaceful, but also kind of eerie when you're alone. I talked to the camera for about 10 minutes, then wrapped up. Alright, I'm heading into the tent now. See you guys in the morning. I turned off the DSLR, grabbed my phone, and crawled into my tent. That's when things started getting weird. I was lying in my sleeping bag, scrolling through my phone, when I heard something outside. At first, I thought it was just an animal, maybe a deer or raccoon, but then I heard it clearly, my own voice. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I froze. My recording was playing outside the tent, but my camera was off. I had turned it off myself. My heart started pounding. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight, pointing it at the tent wall. Hello? I called out. Nothing, just silence. I convinced myself I was being paranoid. Maybe the wind was playing tricks, or maybe I was more tired than I thought. I put my phone down and tried to sleep. An hour later, I woke up to another sound. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate footsteps circling my tent. I held my breath, listening. The steps were too heavy to be an animal. Someone was out there. I reached for my phone. 11:47 p.m. I opened the camera app and started recording audio, keeping the phone hidden in my sleeping bag. The footsteps continued, getting closer to the tent entrance. Then they stopped. My phone buzzed. A text message from an unknown number. Don't turn around. My blood went cold. Turn around? I was lying flat in my tent. What did that even mean? I didn't respond. I just stared at the message, my hands shaking. Another text. I can see you breathing. I immediately killed my flashlight and lay completely still. Whoever was out there could see the tent moving with my breath. I waited in the darkness, too terrified to move, too terrified to make a sound. Minutes felt like hours. Eventually, the footsteps started again, moving away from my tent. I waited until I couldn't hear them anymore. Then, very slowly, I unzipped my tent just enough to peek outside. Nothing. Just darkness and trees. I grabbed my DSLR camera and checked the footage from earlier. I fast-forwarded through the campfire segment, watching myself talk to the camera. Then, as the video was ending, I heard something in the background. A voice. Not mine. I rewound and turned up the volume. There it was, again a whisper, barely audible. He doesn't know yet. I felt sick. I checked my phone's audio recording from tonight. The footsteps were there, clear as day. But there was something else. Heavy breathing that wasn't mine. And then laughter. Low, distorted laughter. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. I sat in my tent, clutching a pocket knife, checking my phone every few minutes. No more texts came. No more footsteps, just silence. When dawn finally broke, I packed everything as fast as I could. I didn't care about filming a morning segment. I just wanted to leave. As I was taking down my tent, I noticed something that made my stomach drop. Footprints. Dozens of them. All around my tent in the dirt. But they weren't normal. They overlapped, circled like someone or something had been pacing around me all night. And the worst part? Some of the prints looked exactly like my own shoe size. I practically ran back to my car. I threw everything in the trunk and drove straight home, not stopping once. That evening, I was sitting in my dorm room still shaken when my phone buzzed. A notification from YouTube. You have uploaded a new video. My heart stopped. I opened the app. There it was, a new video on my channel. Uploaded that morning at 6:2023 a.m. The title, Last Night in the Forest. I didn't upload that. My hands trembling, I clicked on the video. It started with footage from inside my tent, my camera angle, my perspective. But I was asleep in the frame. The camera was filming me sleeping. Then the view shifted. The camera was outside the tent now, pointed at the entrance. I watched in horror as the tent zipper slowly opened from the inside, and I saw myself crawl out. But I knew I hadn't left the tent that night. I had stayed inside until morning. The figure that looked like me stood up, faced the camera, and smiled. Then it whispered, "Thanks for letting me borrow your voice." The video ended. I immediately made my channel private and deleted the video. Then I noticed something else. Over 300 comments had already been posted in just a few hours. I scrolled through them. Most were confused. "Bro, are you okay? This isn't funny. Why do you look like that?" One comment stood out. "I've seen you before. You camp here every October, but you never leave." I reported the video to YouTube, changed all my passwords, and formatted my camera's memory card. But the damage was done. I couldn't shake the feeling that something had followed me home. 3 days later, I woke up in a hospital bed. The doctors told me I'd been found unconscious in the forest by a hiker. Severe dehydration and hypothermia. They said I'd been missing for 2 days. But I had driven home. I remembered sitting in my dorm. I remembered deleting that video. When I checked my phone, my YouTube channel was still active. The video was still there, and it had over 10,000 views. I never went camping again. If you're planning to camp alone, always tell someone exactly where you're going and when you'll return. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, leave immediately. Technology can fail you in remote areas, and isolation can make you vulnerable. Never ignore warning signs, and remember, not everything that looks or sounds like you is actually you. I started volunteering at Redwood State Park in the summer of 2022. It was supposed to be a peaceful job helping visitors, maintaining trails, and occasionally doing night patrols to make sure no one was camping illegally. I loved it at first. The forest was beautiful during the day, and I felt like I was actually making a difference. Night patrols were usually uneventful. I'd walk the main trails with my flashlight and radio, checking the campsites and making sure everything was secure. The park closed at sunset, so by the time I started my rounds around 10 p.m., it was completely empty. Just me, the trees, and the sound of wind rustling through the leaves. It was late September when things started to get strange. I was about halfway through my patrol route when I heard it for the first time. A scream, a woman's scream coming from deep in the forest. But something about it was wrong. It didn't build up like a normal scream. It started at full volume and then faded into silence, like someone had hit rewind. I froze, my flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. "Hello," I called out. "Is someone out there? Are you hurt?" Nothing, just the wind and the distant sound of branches creaking. I grabbed my radio. "Base, this is Emma. I heard what sounded like a scream near the North Trail. Requesting backup to do a sweep." Static. Then my supervisor's voice crackled through. "Copy that, Emma. We'll send someone. Stay where you are and keep your radio on." I waited there for 20 minutes. No one came. No more screams. Eventually, my supervisor radioed back, "False alarm. Probably just an animal. Mountain lions can sound like women screaming. Finish your patrol and head back." I didn't believe him. I'd heard mountain lion calls before during training. This was different. This sounded human. But I finished my route and went home. The next week, I was assigned night patrol again. I almost asked to switch shifts, but I didn't want to seem paranoid, so I showed up, grabbed my gear, and started walking the trails. Everything was fine for the first hour. Then I heard it again, the scream, but this time I was ready. I pulled out my phone and started recording audio. The scream came again, same as before, starting loud and ending in silence, like it was playing in reverse. I kept my phone recording and slowly walked toward the sound. My heart was pounding, but I needed to know what was making that noise. I reached a small clearing off the main trail. My flashlight swept across the trees. Nothing. I checked my phone's recording and played it back with my earbuds in. My blood ran cold. On the recording, the scream sounded completely normal. It started quiet and built up to a peak. But I had heard it the opposite way. I played it again, just to be sure. No, the recording was normal. So why had I heard it backwards in real life? That's when my flashlight started flickering. I smacked it a few times and it went out completely. Darkness swallowed me. I fumbled for my phone's flashlight, my hands shaking. Just as I turned it on, I saw her, a woman in a white dress standing at the edge of the clearing. She was maybe 30 feet away, completely still, facing me. Her hair hung down over her face. She didn't move, didn't speak, just stood there. "Hey!" I called out, my voice cracking. "The park is closed. You need to leave." She didn't respond. I took a step forward and my phone's light flickered. When it came back on, she was gone. I spun around, searching the darkness with my light. Nothing. I grabbed my radio. "Base, I need backup right now. There's someone in the park. North clearing, off trail 6, static." No response. "Base, do you copy?" More static. Then, faintly, I heard something through the radio. That scream, backwards, coming through the speaker. I ran. I didn't care about protocol or my patrol route. I just ran back toward the ranger station, my phone light bouncing wildly as I sprinted through the trees. Behind me, I could hear footsteps. Fast. Getting closer. I didn't look back. I just kept running until I burst through the ranger station door. My supervisor, Mike, looked up from his desk, startled. "Emma, what the hell? There's someone out there!" I gasped, trying to catch my breath. A woman in white. She was just standing there, and then the radio, "Slow down," Mike said, standing up. "What woman?" "I don't know. She was in the clearing, and when my light went out..." Mike held up his hand. "Your light went out?" "Yes, and when I turned it back on, she was right there, and then she disappeared." He sighed. "Emma, you've been working too hard. Night shifts can mess with your head, especially out here alone. Why don't you head home early? I'll finish the patrol." "I'm not imagining this." "I didn't say you were imagining it. I'm saying you're stressed. Go home, get some rest. We'll talk tomorrow." I wanted to argue, but I was too shaken up. I grabbed my stuff and left, but as I was walking to my car, I looked back at the forest. There, just beyond the tree line, I saw her again, the woman in white, standing perfectly still, watching me. I got in my car, drove home without looking back. I called in sick for the next few shifts. I couldn't bring myself to go back, but eventually my supervisor called and said they were short-staffed. He practically begged me to come in for just one more night patrol. Against my better judgment, I agreed. That night, I packed extra batteries, a backup flashlight, and even a small camping knife. I wasn't taking any chances. I started my patrol just after 10 p.m., sticking strictly to the main trails. No detours, no investigating strange sounds. For the first hour, everything was quiet. Too quiet. No wind, no animals. Just an oppressive silence that made my ears ring. Then I heard the scream again, backwards, closer this time. I stopped walking and pulled out my flashlight, keeping it off. I remembered something when my light had gone out before. That's when I'd first seen her. And when it came back on, she'd disappeared. What if she could only appear in the dark? I stood there in the moonlight, my flashlight gripped tightly in my hand. Slowly, I turned it on and swept the beam across the trail ahead. She was there, 20 feet away, facing me. But the moment my light hit her, she vanished. I turned off the flashlight. Darkness again. I counted to 3, then turned it back on. She was closer. 10 feet now, her head tilted slightly to one side, her hair still covering her face. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the flashlight. I turned it off again. In the darkness, I could hear breathing, not mine, hers, right in front of me. I turned the light back on. She was inches from my face. I screamed and stumbled backwards, falling onto the trail. The flashlight rolled away, its beam spinning across the trees. When it stopped, she was standing over me, her face finally visible. Her eyes were completely black. Her mouth was open, frozen in a scream, but no sound came out. Instead, I heard my own voice coming from her. "Help me, please. Somebody help me." But the words were backwards, distorted, wrong. She leaned down, her face inches from mine, and whispered in a voice that sounded like wind through dead leaves, "Now it's my turn." Everything went black. I woke up in my car in the parking lot. It was morning. My supervisor was knocking on my window. I sat up, disoriented, my whole body aching. "Emma, you okay?" Mike asked as I opened the door. "You never checked back in last night. We were worried." I don't know. I was on patrol and then, "Do you need to go to the hospital?" "No, I'm fine. I don't know what happened." Mike looked uncomfortable. "Look, Emma, maybe this job isn't for you. Night shifts can be tough, and you seemed really off lately." "I know what I saw." "I'm sure you do, but I think you should take some time off. Clear your head." I didn't argue. I just went home and slept for 12 hours straight. 2 weeks later, I got a call from another volunteer, Jessica. We'd worked a few shifts together before. "Hey Emma, weird question," she said. "Did you ever finish your last patrol, the one from October 3rd? "Yeah, why?" "It's just, your name's not in the attendance register. There's no record of you being here that night. It's like you never showed up." My stomach dropped. "That's impossible. I was there." Mike saw me in the parking lot the next morning. I asked Mike about it. He said he hasn't seen you since September. I hung up. I checked my work emails, my schedules, everything. According to all records, my last shift was September 28th, the night I first heard the scream. Everything after that, it was like it never happened, like I was never there. I quit the next day. I don't go near that park anymore, but sometimes, late at night, I hear it, that backward scream, and I know she's still there, waiting for someone else to take a turn. If you work night shifts alone in remote areas, always tell someone your exact route and check-in times. Never investigate strange sounds without backup. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, leave immediately. Some places hold on to things that shouldn't exist, and not every mystery needs to be solved. Your safety matters more than answers. I grew up believing that the woods behind my aunt's house were the safest place in the world. This was the late 1980s in a rural pocket of Appalachia where roads were thin, houses were far apart, and people trusted one another because they had no reason not to. My parents worked long hours, so for most of my childhood, I lived with my Aunt Margaret. She was my mother's older sister, quiet, disciplined, and deeply religious. She never raised her voice, never drank, never laughed too loudly. She believed in rules, order, and keeping family matters inside the family. Her house sat at the edge of a forest that seemed to stretch endlessly in every direction. The trees were old and dense, their branches tangled like veins against the sky. From the time I could walk, that forest was my playground. I built forts there, pretended the mossy logs were castles, and followed animal trails as if they were secret roads meant just for me. My aunt allowed it. She always knew where I was, or at least, I thought she did. There were rules, of course. I wasn't allowed to wander after dark. I wasn't allowed to go too far past the creek, and most importantly, I was never allowed to go into the woods at night, no matter what I heard. That last rule was one I didn't understand at the time. Looking back now, I think she made it because of what she already knew. The night everything changed, I was 11 years old. It was late autumn, cold enough that my breath fogged in the air, but not cold enough for snow. I woke up sometime after midnight because I heard a sound I didn't recognize. It wasn't loud, it was rhythmic, a soft, steady crackling, like a campfire being fed slowly, carefully. At first I thought I was dreaming, Then I realized the sound was coming from outside. I got out of bed and crept toward the window. From my bedroom, I could see the edge of the forest behind the house. At first, I saw nothing unusual, just darkness and trees swaying slightly in the wind. Then I saw a flicker of orange light, fire. It was deep in the woods, far beyond where anyone would normally go at night. And standing near it, I saw a familiar silhouette. My aunt. She was wearing her long coat and boots, the ones she only wore in winter. Her back was to me, and she was bent slightly forward, feeding something into the fire. The flames flared briefly, then settled again. I should have gone back to bed. I should have woken her in the morning and asked what she had been doing. Instead, I did what curious children always do. I went outside. The night air was sharp and quiet. The crunch of leaves under my feet sounded impossibly loud, but my aunt didn't turn around. She was focused on the fire, moving slowly, deliberately, like she was following a routine she'd done many times before. As I got closer, the smell hit me. It wasn't wood. It was something sour and metallic, mixed with burnt fabric. The kind of smell that makes the back of your throat tighten before your mind understands why. I stepped on a branch and it snapped. My aunt froze. She turned around slowly, and when she saw me, her face changed in a way I had never seen before. It wasn't anger, it wasn't fear. It was something colder, something calculating. She didn't shout. She didn't ask what I was doing there. She walked toward me and grabbed my wrist hard enough to hurt. "I told you not to look," she said. Her voice was calm, almost gentle, which made it worse. I tried to explain. I tried to say I woke up and saw the light and thought maybe she needed help. She didn't let me finish. She pulled me past the fire, toward a shallow pit in the ground. That's when I saw them. Burned scraps of clothing, charred bones, something unmistakably human. I started to cry, but she covered my mouth with her hand. "You didn't see anything," she whispered. "Do you understand me?" I nodded because I couldn't breathe. She knelt in front of me, her eyes level with mine. "If you tell anyone," she said, "your parents will lose everything. This house, their jobs, their freedom, and you will be taken away, somewhere worse than you can imagine." She paused, then added, "I am doing this to protect us." She made me swear, out loud, in the woods, in front of the fire. Then she walked me back to the house like nothing had happened and put me to bed. I didn't sleep that night, or many nights after. For years, I lived with that secret buried inside me. I avoided the woods. I avoided my aunt when I could, but I never told anyone. I couldn't. Every time I thought about it, I remembered her grip on my wrist and the certainty in her voice. Life went on. I grew up. We moved away. My aunt stayed behind. In my 20s, I started seeing articles online about missing persons in rural Appalachian towns. Names I recognized, faces that looked familiar, people who had lived not far from where I once played as a child. The dates lined up, disappearances spanning decades, unsolved. I told myself it was coincidence, that my memory had exaggerated what I saw, that trauma had distorted it. Then my aunt got sick. I flew back to see her in the hospital. She was thin, pale, barely recognizable. When she saw me, she smiled. On her last night, when the room was quiet and the machines hummed softly, she asked me to lean closer. "You were a good girl," she said. "You kept your promise." I felt sick. As I stood to leave, she grabbed my hand, surprisingly strong for someone so frail. "You did the right thing," she whispered. "You did good by staying quiet." She died an hour later. I reported everything to the police the next week. They searched the woods. They found traces of old fire pits, fragments too degraded to identify, nothing solid enough to build a case. Officially, nothing was ever proven. Unofficially, I think they knew. I still dream about the fire sometimes, and when I smell burning fabric, my stomach still drops the same way it did that night. Because some people don't hide monsters from you. They raise you to protect them. If something feels wrong, especially when it involves silence and fear, listen to that instinct. No matter who is involved, secrecy protects harm. Speak up, seek help, and remember, safety should never require silence. I should have listened to the shepherd. I really should have. We arrived at the Ryla Mountains in early February 2008. My wife Eden, our 6-year-old daughter Hannah, and I had been planning this trip for months. We wanted something different, something away from the usual tourist routes. Bulgaria in winter seemed perfect, remote, peaceful. We'd read about families camping there, so we figured we could handle it. The first person we met was an old shepherd, maybe 70 or 80 years old, with a face like weathered leather. He was leading a small flock down the mountain path as we were setting up our camp near a clearing surrounded by pine trees. He stopped when he saw us, his eyes going straight to Hannah, who was playing with her stuffed rabbit near the tent. He approached slowly and in halting English said, "You stay here tonight?" His accent was thick, but I understood him clearly enough. "Yes," I said, smiling, "just for 2 nights." He didn't smile back. Instead, he looked at Hannah again, then at Eden and me. "You have daughter." "Yes, that's Hannah," Eden said, waving at him. Hannah waved back shyly. The shepherd crouched down, his joints cracking audibly, and looked directly at us. "Listen to me, very important. After dark, if you hear girl voice outside tent calling you, do not answer. Do not open. Do not look. You understand?" I laughed nervously. "What do you mean?" "These mountains that play tricks. Old tricks. If you hear daughter voice outside, you keep her inside. You no answer. Promise me." Eden and I exchanged glances. The man seemed deadly serious, but it sounded like local superstition. Still, there was something in his eyes that made my skin prickle. "Okay," I said. "We won't answer." He nodded slowly, stood up with effort, and continued down the path without another word. That night, we made dinner over our portable stove, told Hannah stories, and tucked her into her sleeping bag between us. The temperature dropped fast after sunset, and we were all bundled up tight. Hannah fell asleep almost immediately, exhausted from the day's hiking. Eden and I stayed up talking quietly for another hour or so. We joked about the shepherd's warning, deciding it was probably just an old folk tale meant to scare tourists. Around 11, we finally turned off our lantern and settled in to sleep. I don't know what time it was when I heard it, maybe 2 or 3 in the morning. At first, I thought I was dreaming. "Mommy, Daddy." It was Hannah's voice, small and frightened, coming from outside the tent. My eyes snapped open. Eden's hand immediately gripped my arm in the darkness. "Mommy, please, I'm cold, let me in." My heart was pounding. I reached out instinctively to where Hannah was sleeping between us. My hand touched her hair. She was right there, breathing softly, sound asleep. "Please, it's so cold out here. I'm scared." The voice was perfect. Exactly Hannah's voice, with the same slight lisp she had when she said certain words. Eden's fingers dug into my arm so hard it hurt. "Don't," she whispered, barely audible. "Daddy, why won't you help me? It's dark, and I can't find the tent." I wanted to speak. Every parental instinct in my body screamed at me to respond, to help, but I remembered the shepherd's face, the certainty in his warning. Hannah stirred between us but didn't wake. The voice outside continued. "I'm right here. Just open the tent. Please, I'm crying." And it did sound like crying. Soft, heartbreaking sobs that made my chest ache. Eden was shaking next to me. I put my hand over her mouth, afraid she might break and answer. The voice moved around the tent, circling slowly. Sometimes it sounded like it was right against the fabric, inches from our heads. Other times it seemed farther away, calling from the tree line. "Why are you being mean to me? I just want to come inside where it's warm." This went on for what felt like hours. The voice never got angry, never changed its tone beyond pleading and crying. It just kept begging, kept asking, kept being our daughter's voice, saying things our daughter would say. Hannah slept through all of it. Finally, as the first gray light of dawn started to show through the tent fabric, the voice stopped. Just stopped, mid-sentence, as if someone had flipped a switch. We didn't move until full daylight. When we finally unzipped the tent and looked outside, there was nothing. No footprints in the frost around our tent except our own from the night before. No signs that anyone had been there at all. We packed up in silence and left within an hour. Hannah was confused about why we were leaving early, but we told her we'd changed our plans. We never explained what happened that night. On our way down the mountain, we saw the shepherd again with his flock. He looked at us, at Hannah walking between us, holding our hands, and simply nodded. He knew we hadn't answered. I still don't know what would have happened if we'd opened that tent. And I'm grateful I never found out.